Using the daily time tracking sheet is pretty self-explanatory, but I did want to go over very quickly, mostly this key here at the bottom, okay? You will notice that I left all of these blank, and that is simply so that you can add whatever color you like with whatever you have, and so that they can change. If you have highlighters, use highlighters. If you have colored pencils, use colored pencils. If you have just a pen, I can show you really quickly here in a second how to just use the pen. Now, you'll also notice that I started here at 10 p.m., okay? And each of these rows represents 4 hours. So my 2 rows here will represent 8 hours of sleep. And then you can obviously, you can make that prettier if you want, however you want to do that. I will give you the Google Doc form of this so that you can change the times if you want. But the reason I start the night before is because it's this sleep, right, that represents what happens during the day here. Okay, it's what affects it. So that way, you know, if you're up from, let's say, 2 to 4, right, you can not shade that in green and make a little note. There's some space right here below. You can make a little note about what was going on, like what happened, were you awake, was your brain just racing, you know, could you just not go back to sleep or whatnot. Okay, so that way you can create different colors. So, you know, I'm gonna do a little Bible study here for half an hour. Right? And this is, when you're doing it, it's to track what you actually did, right? It's not necessarily the planning piece of it, but it's the awareness piece of it so that you can track what you actually did. Now, if you're just using pens, right, you can just make different patterns in the boxes to make the pens so you know what you did there, okay? I also left, if you'll notice, like some space here. That way you can add in whatever block of activity you're using. So you'll notice here too, I don't like separate out what kinds of work yet, right? We're not talking about client work and creativity and CEO activities and operations stuff, like all that. All that's, we're just talking about when I'm working, when I'm having some family time. There's also a space up here so that you can put what day of the week it is. Right? Sunday will look very different than Monday, right? So let's say this is a Sunday, right? Then I might need to fill in church time right there. Fill it in with a color. And then I'm there forever, but let's just say you go from 8 to 11. Or 8 to 10. Let's just do 8 to 10. If that's where you go to church, right? So then your Sunday just looks different. So this is, again, to track what you actually do, not what you hope to do.